ago for a large healthcare company. It was the same deal, right? Getting documents in there fast and easy was tough. And that's why we built this. It really is built around that whole process. Scanning, also integrate eFax, which I'll explain in a minute. And there's a couple ways you get documents in here. But you guys are scanning documents now and uploading to the chart, or are you guys paper? Or are you kind of somewhere in the middle?
No, yeah, we're scanning. We're scanning
Okay.
everything in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, most of the people we talk to are, right, and all they're looking for is efficiencies to make that faster, and that's what this does. So typically what people are doing today is if you have like a physical piece of paper in your hand, you put it on the glass of the scanner, you scan it to your email or a shared location on your network, save it, go into PointClickCare, find the resident, go into miscellaneous documents, hit upload, and then you categorize it and upload it, right? And that's kind of that's how it works, which is not miserable for one or two documents, but man, you're doing a lot and it's super slow. And what we found is a lot of times people just weren't getting the documents in there quick because it was not really a fun or efficient process. And so what we've done is we've created a way for all scanners to connect. And basically you'd put a shortcut on your scanner, which we help you do, put it on the glass, scan it, comes into our web app. Our web app is connected to PCC. So all your residents, everything we need is in there. And you just say, this document goes here, this one goes here, this one goes here. And it goes super, super fast. Couple things about the app. It's web-based. We follow like the same way PCC is. Web-based, locked down to your IP address. We do offer remote access with two-form authentication, but typically, you're going to use it in the building. So most users are going to be just locked into their building. And again, we are connected to the PCC network via our developer. And so all of your admissions go in there automatically, your categories, all that stuff. Um, Scanners is a big way you get documents in there. We also integrate with eFax. We do a little bit different in we don't sell eFax numbers. If you guys are using a company now, as long as it's HIPAA compliant, we will spin up an API, connect to that, allow you to send and receive faxes from inside of our app with no charge. It's just something we build in there because it's such a great way to get documents in and out. But if you don't have an eFax, I can give you some great recommendations. Typically, most people, I'd say about half do today and half don't. So if you don't, we can help you with some great companies. Pick the ones that work best. We just want you to put that in your name so you guys own it, and then you can integrate into our app. And then third is you can just drag and drop PDFs. So if you have a bunch of PDFs, you just dump them in here, right? And they'll go in our system. Let me get logged in.
Hey,
Go
Colin,
ahead.
does this require a specific type of scanner?
That's the cool part about it is it doesn't. There's multiple ways we can get documents into our app. Um, a lot of the newer, so we use SFTP as our primary delivery method. A lot of the newer scanners utilize that. A lot of them don't. It's like, kind of a mix. So if the device itself does, we can help configure the device right on it. If it doesn't, we use a script that'll, you can save all your documents to one location and we batch those over to us as well, which our team will help you with that. Honestly, most people, even if their scanners do support SFTP, they still use the script method because if you're doing multiple locations, it's faster if you're changing things from time to time, adding a scanner, adding a building, making any kind of change, that typically works faster. But you can do either way. We have some that use it straight from the config on the device because it does support it. And then we have some, most of our larger ones would use the script method. It just kind of seems to work better, but any device will work because we do it that way as well. So,
Okay.
all right. So let me start with the easiest one, and that's the dragging and dropping, right? So if you have a bunch of PDFs, you can just drag and drop them right here to the top right corner, dump them in there. We're going to run a virus scan, kind of a couple things, check the PDF, and then it's going to pop up here on the dashboard. Let me zoom in that, sorry. If you get an eFax, like if so mine has eFax turned on, if somebody eFaxes me, it's going to say right here, eFax. What's cool about the eFax is because because we're like a bolt-on for your eFax, it can go multiple ways. And what I mean is sometimes people want the eFax to come in here and here only. Sometimes they want it to come in here, but also go to an email box. Maybe your CNAs are checking for orders or however you're doing it. Because you can set it up that way, your eFax can be however you want it to work. I have mine just going in here. So when I get a fax, it shows up in here and then I can process it. I don't have a scanner connected to the demo one, but if you did, you would have, it'd say scanner or copier or whatever it happens to be right there. So those are the three ways you get documents in there. Once the document's in, I'm just going to click the document. I'm going to see the document right here. This would be a one pager, it looks like. And then there's four things you have to know when you're putting documents in PCC. What's the effective date? Which resident? Which category? What do you want to name the document? Those four questions are right here. So here's effective date. By default, it picks today. These are my residents. Last name, comma, first name. D for discharge. You're going to have an A for active. If you're doing pre-admission stuff like waiting list or CRM, you're going to have an N there for new. And then obviously my resident ID. I can scroll down or I can just start typing. I can filter by anything. So as I type, it's going to pick first name, last name. I can search by, whatever it is I'm looking for, resident ID, whatever. And then these are my categories. When you put them in PCC, all the categories that are miscellaneous documents, they're going to come over into our system. So that's all these right here. I can start scrolling down, or I just like to type, it's faster. I pick my category. And then the last thing here is what you want to name it. You'll see that our system names the document, the category, and then you can add to whatever you want. So let's say you want to put a date on that. You can just put the date, and then you just hit one of these two green buttons. So it's either upload in homepage, going to push it to PCC and load up the homepage, which has my list of documents, or I can hit upload and next, which is going to push this document to PCC and then just load up the very next document in the queue in case I'm trying to go, really fast through them. I'm going to hit this one because I like to start at the beginning every time in the demo. I do that. That document is on its way into the chart in PCC and it'll be there within 60 seconds. We batch all of our documents. So every minute on the minute, we send everything in there. So it can take up to 60 seconds for that document to get in there. Let me show you kind of what it looks like in real time though, because I went a little slow. So I would look at the document. If I want to change the date, I can. I go in here, I find my resident. Oops, scroll down, pick my category. If I want to add something to it, I can. And then I just hit homepage or that. That's all I have to do. And that document was on its way into the chart. I'm going to do a couple of them, but does it make sense kind of high level what it's doing there?
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. I do have a question. So we get a lot of times we'll get a whole big packet, right? And we want to separate out the H&P and the admission orders and the discharge summary and if they have a chest X-ray.
Yeah.
Um, how would that work? So if we just load the packet onto the scanner, is there a way to mark the sections out, or is it one that we would kind of still have to sort through and separate them and then do this process?
Great question. So here's a 24-page document. So let's say this is kind of your example, right? I got 24 pages in here. Some are different categories. It can be the same resident with different categories, or sometimes when you get facts turned on, it might be, hospital sent over or doctor's office, progress notes for different residents, whatever. It's basically one PDF that I need to break into pieces.
Uh-huh.
So what I would do in here is instead of using this menu over to the right, up here at the top, I hit the scissor tool. And I'll zoom in here a little bit. So I can take this one PDF, I can look through it, and I'm going to pick Karina Bailey, pages, oops, pages 1 through 4 are the ancillary. I could pick a different resident or the same resident, maybe your example, like you were saying, there's a bunch of different categories. And I can take this one PDF and just start breaking it up. So pages one
Okay.
through four are going to go here. You can do anything you want in here. I can overlap pages. I can use the same resident, same category. I can do whatever I want. I don't have to use all the pages. This is a 24-page document. Maybe like a fax came in and I don't want the first page because it was a cover page. So I'm gonna start here, but I can do all of that. I can use same resident, different category, same resident, same category. Maybe I just want them broken up. Their progress notes, I want them separated, whatever, or different residents. So what you would do in your instance is use the scissor tool. I hit split. It takes that one PDF. Now just push 3 to the chart there real fast. So that
Gotcha.
scissor tool, super
Yeah.
time saver.
There's your time saver right there. Yep, absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Some people love the scissor tool because they like to split it up at their desk. Some people do it at the glass of the copier. I feel like to me the scissor tool is faster, but everybody's got their own way of doing it. I don't know. I don't like
Yeah.
sitting at the copier doing 2 pages, hit scan, 2 pages. To me, that's slower, but everybody's
Right.
doing their own thing.
Well, and what we normally do now is we have to, load your H&P in, and then we separately load in the admission orders, and separately so on and
Yeah.
so forth. And then the process from there is pretty similar. I mean, this maybe saves a step from clicking PCC, but in PCC, as you guys know, you have to put the date and the category and the document name. That's the same, but I do see the step there. But what would save us the time is using that cut tool to be able to go in and just scan the entire document and then go through and say, okay, I need page 1 through 4, five
Yeah.
through seven, whatever, and then upload it. I think that would save us a tremendous amount of time.
Yeah, I think that's a huge time saver. For me, I spent a couple years in med rec when I was doing it. A big time saver for me was not having to bounce around from resident to resident. So if I had, 2 documents for 2 different residents, I didn't have to go and find them in PCC. I do it all from here, right? So I can just go right here, do that. And even though they're the same 4 questions, I don't have to move around in PCC. So I just fly through it in here. So between all those little things, scissor tool, game changer, there's a lot of time saver. The other one that I really liked, and it was more just a kind of a pet peeve of mine, is like if you're uploading the document, and this one's kind of a bad example because it's a small and it's a 0.4 megabyte one, but there is a limit, and there's a couple buckets that PCC has their customers in. Some people, their maximum is 5 megabytes, 10, 15, 20, whatever it may be. If you're putting a PDF into PCC and it's above the maximum, so let's say your maximum is 20 megabytes, and you go and you have a 25 megabyte file and you're doing the whole thing, and you get to that last step in PCC and you hit upload, it's going to say, hey, your PDF is too big, break it into pieces and then upload again. Well, our
Yep.
system won't do that. It's going to accept it. And then when it gets to the chart, it's going to look like this. Oops, it's not going to look like that. It's going to look like this, where it'll take
Uh,
that PDF, break it into pieces automatically. Now, you won't see that right here, but you'll see it when it gets into the chart in PCC. But that's what the name would look like, 1 of 3, 2 of 3, and it does it automatically, which is another humongous time saver.
oh,
Because
absolutely.
yeah, so those are the 2 big things that were for me in MedRec. Those were my had to haves in there. It does other things. If there's blank pages, it'll remove the blank page. Now it has to be completely blank. Sometimes scanners are set up funny where like you put a single page in and it scans double sided and the back's black. The back is
Mm,
blank. Just stuff like that. But
yeah,
it'll do that automatically. So.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Let me show you real fast the scanning part. I'm sorry, the faxing part. So again, the integration with fax, we don't sell you fax numbers. If you have them, you can just plug them right in. We help you set all those up. If you don't, give you some recommendations. But the great part about the fax is, let's say I got to take this document and fax it to the doctor's office and then put it in the chart. Well, I can click right here where it says eFax. I'm going to zoom back out here. That top number is my number. I can put in a number I want to fax it to. And your version has an address book right here. Mine, the demo version doesn't, but yours has an address book so you can save numbers. And then I can go, fill out my cover page. You can do this. And then I can say, email me if there's an error or whatever, and then send eFax and delete, or send eFax and send to PCC. So I'm going to do that. Now, if fax is on its way out, I still take this document and then I put it in the chart. And so really that quickly, I send a fax out and I get a document on its way into the chart in PCC. So a couple seconds there. And then what's nice about eFax is when I get a fax, here's one right here. I can click it. I can see the fax. Oh, this is from Dr. John. It goes into this chart, right? And then this category. Boom. And I never even had to print it, scan it, any of that. So the eFax is a really cool integration into that as well.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple other quick things in the app. We do monitor, or we do log everything that's in here. So if I go under residence, every scan you ever done there'll be a log of it. So here's a chronological view. Here's a by resident view. If I click the resident, I'm going to see all the documents. These are blank here because my system doesn't really delete them. It'll delete these in a second, but we'll keep this log forever. We never get rid of it. We do, once that PDF makes it into the chart in PCC and they send us back a code, we remove the PDF and we just keep a transactional log in there, but that'll stay forever in the system. Under eFax, here is my log of eFaxes. This is the one I just sent. It's processing. in there. You have multiple locations, it sounds like. So you would have this corporate tab that you might give maybe just to you, but not to the building. So you would hide it from certain people, but it would show you, who's using it, how much they're using, which users using it, which category, kind of breaks into some of the, data into there. Also, this is where you configure, the IP addresses. If you're using dynamic DNS, you can do that as well. And users and all that fun stuff would be in here. Couple quick things under settings. I won't go through all of these. They're pretty easy to understand. This is where you add users and so on. But one of the ones that I always like to highlight in the demo is training. The system is built to be super simple, super fast, right? And so we've made it really quick. It's about saving time, not making more work for you. But you can go in here. It's a high turnover environment, the nursing industry. And so, we know a lot of times you're going to have training that needs to be done, right? You have a new med rec every couple months or 6 months or a year, whatever, depending on how large your company is. And so we do this thing where you can go in here and hit training videos, but there's also schedule free training. Anytime you have a new user, they can click that, they pick a date, they pick a time, and they'll get trained one-on-one or in a group or whatever they want with a live person, and it's always free. That way your users are always getting trained, they're using it, and it's going, it's working well for them. The other thing is support. We all come from nursing homes. This is where we all started, and we know it's critical that you guys get super fast service because you're taking care of people, right? You're caring for residents. You're not messing around with the computers. And so 8 to 5 Pacific time zone, you can click here and chat with someone in real time, and they'll help you with other problems you have. All support is totally free. Um, we do monitor that on the weekends. So if someone's checking it, I got a problem on the weekends, we do have someone checking it as well. And then if it's outside of those hours, you guys are a couple hours ahead of us. Someone puts something in there, the person will get to you the second they get in the office and respond to that. So training is always live and free, and support is as well. A couple other quick things I would highlight that are coming. Let me go back into here real fast. You'll see there's this HRIS tab. We are scanning the PCC today. We're working right now. In fact, some of our customers are testing it for us, where you'll be able to scan into your payroll system. So if you're using ADP, Kronos, UKG, some of the bigger ones, by the end of this summer, those will be live where you can have a list of your resident or your employees, and you could push documents into their employee files. So if you're tracking like nurse certs or your onboarding information or anything like that that's not electronic, this will help you get that into the chart as well. So that's that HRIS tab. If it's one of the smaller ones, which a lot of people are using now, like the Paycoms and stuff, that's probably towards the end of the year. So you'll get more information on that one. And then lastly, one of the things that I really am excited about is DocuSign and Sign Now. So we are integrating and this finishing the build out now, then they'll start testing. But are you guys using Document Manager in PCC or DocuSign or any of those for
Yeah,
e-sign?
yeah, we use Document Manager.
Cool. And a lot of people do. It's a great app. My partner uses it in his buildings, although they're gonna eventually move over to Sign Now. But what you can do with it is when you go into here, it works just like PCC. There's a DocuSign button here. You create your document in there. You pick your document, pick your resident. It'll pre-fill the form out for you, push it out, get e-sign, and then when it's e-signed and completed, it shows up right in here, and it would say DocuSign, and then you can push it into the chart. So there is, I love the PCC one. It's great. There's just a lot of options today, in that
Hmm.
DocuSign thing. So if that's
Sure.
something you guys are looking at, the DocuSign is a thing that we
Sure.
just add in there. There's no charge for it. So,
Okay.
and then
Does
lastly,
will
how
that
do
allow for the uploading of like admission packets and things like that?
exactly? Yeah, that's the primary
Okay.
use is the admission part,
Sure.
because there's, the DocuSign one's great, and it's a new thing going on at PCC where um, they allow us to build certain things if it's not conflicting with their products. And recently, this was probably 6 months ago, they came out and said, "Hey, we're probably going to slow down the development of the document e-sign concept because there's some really great tools out there, right? It's hard to compete with e-sign, sign now, DocuSign. And so they've opened that up for a lot of us to build into that. And so you'll probably see a shift to people moving that way over the next, years, 2 years. And
Okay.
so that's why we just jumped on it ahead of time. And then
Sure.
how many locations are you guys?
21.
Okay.
Plus,
So
so that would be individual campuses. Some of those have assisted living associated and some independent living as well.
gotcha. One of the things we do, and it's always we love to have a lot of fun around here, and so we do this. But every month we do a giveaway, and what we do is a little different. So your buildings would compete only with your buildings, and what we do is once a month, and it'd be like the first or second of the month. I'm going to send you a list of, hey, here's your top three, buildings that are using the app and the number of scans they're using, and then every week we pick the top user. We give you the top couple. But let's say I give you the top three users every week that have uploaded documents. And we partner with you. We give you Starbucks cards. So your top building would get a $50 Starbucks card that they would share with them, everybody there. And then your top users get a $20 gift card. So every week you're going to have a winner that you get to, mail out. And the reason I say we partner is some of our customers just want us to push that out and handle it for them. And some of them like to get involved so that they can really get the teams all fired up and everything. And that's just something we throw in to get everybody excited to use the app. And so it's $50 for the facility doing the most scans, and then $20 a week for the user doing the most. So it makes it really fun. Believe it or not, it is crazy competitive once you tell people that there's a gift every week. But it really
Yeah,
helps. What we found is it helped us when we were doing it with our buildings get documents into the chart fast. And that's the end of that's the result we're trying to get to. So something we
sure.
just throw in there for you. But
Yeah, that's cool. Do you guys have any type of, say, case study, but case studies or anything on how much time is saved from somebody who's kind of doing that manual process to jumping over into using this technology?
we did when we first started it, we did a lot of that. And we've kind of fine-tuned it, and it's so different by everything. But we would find that on average, a user would take between like a minute to 2 minutes without the app from the whole process, scanning, getting it, saving it. It's typically closer to about a minute and a half. With our app and the setup, it's about 30 seconds. So I
Okay,
usually tell people it's going to cut your time in half or 70, 75%, somewhere in that range. It is
sure.
just different. There's so many variables, but it's at a minimum 50% time savings. I would say closer to 75.
Yeah, I would think so too. How long have you guys been, has this been available to outside of your buildings?
Think we're coming on about 3 years now,
Okay.
selling it on the marketplace. We've been using it, our buildings for probably, I don't know, maybe five and a half, somewhere around there.
Okay. And how many skilled facilities are you in currently?
Let me look at this chart that's live right here. And just a quick math. It's about 800, somewhere right around there.
Okay.
695. Yeah, about 800.
Any
And
of those in
then
Indiana or Florida or Ohio? I'm just thinking of
we
if somebody would be a reference that we would know.
David could find you some. We have them in every state. We have buildings in
Okay,
almost every state. So I'm sure David will find you some.
sure. Um, I guess then I like it. I mean, I think it looks nice. Do you, as far as typically we would roll out to like a building or do a trial in a building and then make sure everything's smoothed over and then maybe push it out in groups after that. Is that what does your rollout process look like? Do you guys do trial periods? What is that as far as next steps?
Yeah, in terms of next steps, we can definitely get a trial going. If you have a particular building in mind that you'd like to test this out, we can do a free 30-day risk-free trial on that. I'll just kind of jump into pricing and the agreement, all of that, just so you have that information in front of you. And I'll follow up with an email too that just highlights all that in front of you, so you don't have to feel like you got to write all this down. But when it comes to the pricing of this product, it's 1 to 2 facilities. It's a tiered structure, so 1 to 2 facilities is 149 per month. When that jumps into the next threshold, 3 to 49 facilities, it's 129 per month. And then when you go to 50 and beyond, it's $99 a month. In terms of the agreement, it is a month-to-month agreement, so you're not tied down to anything. We have a lot of confidence in this product, and have seen a lot of success. So we don't tie you down to a longer term contract. If you did want to do a 24-month commitment on that, you can save yourself 10%. But I'll go ahead and share that agreement with you, recording this video as well if you want to share that with anybody on your team. But as I mentioned, I'll follow up with a quick email that just kind of highlights everything for you, gets everything in front of you, and yeah, in terms of kind of next steps, we'd love to get it into a building and just get you guys testing it and see what your team on the ground thinks.
Sure. What's the timeline on a rollout? Are you guys out several months? Is it something that rolls up pretty quickly?
It rolls out pretty quickly as long as your IT team is, engaged in it. We've seen anywhere from about, 2 to 3 days to up to a couple weeks. Just depends on,
Okay.
the priority there.
Yeah, pretty quickly. So I will tell you, no, we're on time here. I will tell you, I am looking at, and you guys probably know them, No2 as another option. I don't know how familiar you are with them, or if you are, do you know what differentiates you guys from, say, like No2?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to that, and just I never want to say anything bad about anybody, and I won't. I'll just tell you the differences. No2 is a fantastic company. Their focus years ago was eFax, and that's their thing, right? And so they do have a module when you buy their eFaxes that you can push into the chart. It doesn't do the scanning part; it'll just do the eFax part. But one of the things that, so as a customer, when I was running our nursing homes, that the reason I didn't want this, I didn't want to get locked into that No2 system, right? And so I want to be able to take my faxes and go wherever. So we've used so many different carriers over the years. That was important to me. And that's why when we built the app, we just say whatever customer or company you're using, you can use, right? So whether you're using No2 or Docomo or any of these that you want to use for your eFax, you can. It was more of something for me that like I didn't want to get stuck with something, so that's why we did the eFax flexibility. We did the month-to-month contract. The scanning is a big one, right? So the majority of the documents we see come from devices like copiers and scanners. So that's where a lot of these companies don't have that functionality. They'll say, "Oh, just fax it in, and then you can use the system." And so that's a big differentiator. And then price. I haven't seen the prices in a little bit, but if you shop, you can definitely get really good pricing in your eFax. I know I have a lot of friends running nursing homes, and so I would just say like the advice that I always give them is shop pricing, and you'll find there's some really cheap eFax companies out there that are great. The Ring Centrals, the Docomos, all of these are really, really good ones that you can do unlimited faxing for 20 bucks a month, or you can't do it with some of these other services. So that's why we
Sure.
try and allow you to pick those things. Again, good company. I know them well. I know their focus now is more on referral type stuff. So they're integrating with the acute systems a lot more. I think they, are they've grown a lot, and they've looked to really grow their business outside of being an eFax thing. And that's fantastic. Wish them the best, just not our focus. Our focus is post acute. That's it. That's all we do. And then we give you that flexibility to have any vendor you want to use.
Yeah, and I think from what I've seen, I had a demo with them as well, and yours seems a lot smoother. I don't know that they have like that scissor feature that you guys have, and like you said, the scanning. I'm gonna have to go back and look again. I don't think they have the same
No.
scanning capabilities. I think it was all, hey, eFax it in, and then we can send it to the chart that you want, but not necessarily just scan it in and then add it that way. So I think that's a big difference as well.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody does the scanning yet. And I think the main reason it's just a little bit more like a lot of these companies will do the eFax because it's a no-brainer. You can just, no two, honestly, they have a service they use for their eFax. And that's the service, right? You just plug it in and go. You don't have to support it, you don't have to deal with it. And that's why it didn't work for me as a CIO. It just wasn't working. I needed that scanning because that's the big
Hmm.
part of it. And so
Yeah,
a good company, nice people, everything's great. We just needed something different, and that's why we built this. So there's
sure.
similarities, but not apples to apples.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's accurate. So, okay, great. Well, I look forward. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. It does look like something that I would be interested in at least following up with you guys on and talking to some of some of my people about. So I'll look forward to seeing your emails, and then we can go from there.
Sounds
Awesome.
good.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, thanks for jumping on, and we appreciate you taking the time to review the tool with us. And like I said, I'll follow up and make sure you got everything in front of you, and I'll send you this recording as well if you want to share that with anybody on your team. And if we need to hop on for another demo as well, we're happy to do that for you. So anything we can do to support.
Sounds great. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Take
Awesome.
care.
Thank you, Nick. All right, bye.
Bye bye.